No final exams for schools affected by election unrest. Tighter security to stop cheating in exams. And government pushing for more efficient public service.
This is National EMTV News with Marilyn Diao-Katam.
Good evening. Thanks for joining me. This is Friday's news. Students of the Nupa Basin in Southern Highlands Province will not sit for the national examinations starting next week because of the ongoing election-related unrest. National Education Secretary Dr. Uke Kombra has announced that instead internal marks will be used to assess students' academic performances to determine their continuation.
Ongoing election-related incidents in Southern Highlands has forced the National Education Department to stop the conduct of this year's national examinations for grades 8, 10 and 12 in the province. National Education Secretary Dr. Uke Kombra says after careful assessments and consultation on the situation, a decision was executed because of the incomplete academic year.
Minimum requirement for the instructional hours to be complied with and met have not been completed. Therefore, we have decided with the minister who is in charge of curriculum and instruction that we will not give any exams this year. But considering that we have to ensure that these students must have a future as well. They must be given a fair chance because they are still young, they have to complete their education.
Students will be assessed according to the internal marks. For grades 8 and 10, students will proceed to the next grade in the 2018 academic year.
One reason why we led to ensure that the students who are at grade 8 and 10 can progress is because we will have a backlog of students. If we allow them to repeat, that would leave no space for the new students to come into a grade prep or upwards. Therefore, we had to make a choice that we don't give them the examinations, but they can go up to grade 9 and 11 and catch up with the work that they've missed, their instruction hours and so on. They can catch up with additional lessons and so forth. So the schools and provinces will work on this one.
However, for grade 12s, they have been allowed to repeat term 3 in the 2018 academic year to cater for the instruction hours.
And then sit for the exams in 2018. So we have had, my minister has already had discussions and meetings with the provincial government, and we have agreed that opportunities and facilities will be provided for these students to complete.
In the meantime, Dr. Kombra has dismissed claims by Southern Highlands Deputy Provincial Administrator Michael Ariando, published in one of the daily newspapers, that exams are a choice with students given options. Dr. Kombra maintains issues with education curriculum and examinations are a direct responsibility of the National Education Secretary and the National Education Minister.
The instructions that have been given by the administrator are not valid. Therefore, what we have done is our two senior officers here have gone down to the province and have meetings with the provincial examination supervisor and education advisor, and we have come to a conclusion with them that the students at those schools affected, like Mongol and Mendi, they will still proceed to sit for exams. And after the exams, we will assess how well they've done the exams and whether there were some issues and so on. But the reporting that said that the students can do exams or they can go to any school and turn up for exams is not on. That is not allowed. You cannot just go and sit in any school because the exam papers that are packed like this and sent are based on the numbers of students that are going to sit in that school. You cannot have 100 papers sent to Mongol or one school and then you have in front of you 200 students. There'll be chaos.
Dr. Kombra says students are not allowed to sit for the exams in other schools unless arrangements are made prior to the guested dates. Only registered and approved schools are permitted to deliver the exams based on their enrollment.
Will not go to yellow book and say that I'm from Mendi and I'm here to do my exams. No, that's not allowed. If certain arrangements like this happen, we are informed well in advance, and then we send the exam papers based on those formal arrangements. We send it to that school, and the school is already aware that this number of students are going to come.
Meanwhile, students of two schools in Simbu province will be repeating the academic year next year.
The Provincial Education Board has suspended or closed those schools for this year due to election-related issues. They are Karamoy and Mount William Secondary School. So those two schools, students will not sit for exams this year because the schools are closed. And they will be repeating their academic year next year.
Fabian Haklitz, National EMTV News.
Chief Secretary to Government Isaac Lupari has extended his condolences to the families of the two policemen killed in Southern Highlands election-related unrest. Mr. Lupari says the government has responded with the call-out of security forces to maintain law and order in the province.
Following a meeting of the National Security Advisory Council, Mr. Lupari says a call-out was an option to curb lawlessness in Mendi. Security forces have already been deployed into the area.
The other one is to utilize the current call-out. To have a state of emergency is a long process by law. We can't afford to do that because if we leave it late without any intervention by government and our security forces, of course, the people who don't believe in law, have no respect for life, will continue to carry their activities. So the only option that was readily available for us to utilize by law was the call-out provisions, where the police commissioner can then call upon the defense force to go and carry out the similar kind of powers that would have been given to them under the SOE.
Mr. Lupari says instigators and perpetrators will be identified in the operations and brought to justice to face the full force of the law.
They need to be brought into account. And one of the messages we said to the police commissioner is that they must be identified. Lives have been lost, properties have been discovered. They must be identified. Those who are instigating, those who are perpetrators must be brought to justice. And they must face the law as it is.
Fabian Haklitz, National EMTV News.
The National Education Department is applying the rule of zero tolerance on cheating in this year's national examinations. Secretary Dr. Uke Kombra has announced security control on national examinations. The first feature is security tape on examination papers.
A review of systems and process of examinations. Since 2015, the National Education Department has taken further steps to stop cheating in national examinations. One feature is security tape on examination papers.
Every examination, a set of examination papers will have a cover, a security tape on this examination set of papers. It is when on the examination date or day, the invigilator from the other school will come and in front of the students will be able to remove the label, the security label. And once it is removed, it cannot be put back. I want to demonstrate this. So you can see that this is a completely blue label. And once it is opened, you will see a mark like this.
Dr. Kombra says security control will allow fair examination and to stop cheating that has occurred in previous years.
We stand to administer a very fair examination and ensure that every student is on an equal playing field and no one is better, no one is given any opportunity that is better than another student.
Meanwhile, national examinations begin next week for grade 10s.
This year we are going to have a total of 210,466 students will be sitting for the national exams. The national exams that we conduct are from grade 8, grade 10 and grade 12. The grade 10 examinations will be starting on the 9th, which is next week Monday. with a total of 67,500 students. The week after that, on the 16th, we are going to have the grade 12 exams. The grade 12 exams will involve a total of 27,966 students. And this will be conducted in 164 secondary schools. And after 2 weeks of grade 8 exams, grade 10 and 12 exams, we're going to have the grade 8 exams. The grade 8 exams will involve a total of 115,000 students in 3,007 schools.
Dr. Komra says examination preparations are under control and has extended his best wishes to all students. Fabian Haklitz, National EMTV News.
Public Service Minister Elias Kapavore made his maiden visit to the PNG Institute of Public Administration this morning. Accompanied by Secretary John Cully, the minister was given a tour of the facilities and met with staff and students. He also announced he stands ready to improve the public service of the country and will bring to Parliament the PILAG Bill, which will transform PNG IPA to a leading institute of training leadership and governance in the Pacific.
Mr. Kapavore made his first public engagement as the Minister for Public Service when he visited the IPA campus this morning. After arriving with Secretary Kali, he was given a walkthrough in all departments and sections of the Administration College. The Institute of Public Administration is one of the oldest institutes in the country, dedicated to train and upskill the country's public service. Under the O'Neill Dion government, it has undergone major facelifts, but now under the O'Neill Able government, it will go a step further by becoming a leading institute in leadership and governance in the Pacific. The minister announced that he will be tabling a bill on the floor of Parliament to transform IPA into PILAG, or the Pacific Institute of Leadership and Governance.
We will change to Pacific Institute of Leadership and Governance. Leadership and governance is so important today in the public sector. So I think we are all geared towards, we are looking forward to this. And I said again that you have my support.
Minister Kapavore maintained that as a responsible government, they must look at new ways of improving public service, and one way which has been encouraged over the years is to work in close partnership with the private sector.
We should not face all the problems and issues that has been happening for so many years. Let us look at ways and means to change the way we approach our learning and development curriculums and adjust. And that is what the PNCIP is doing now. Looking at some of the course programs, some of the course lineup for next year. And I believe this is what you're doing.
The minister finished his visit by encouraging IPA staff to remain committed in improving the public service sector in the country.
Keep up the good work, that commitment, that passion to see the change resonating to the public service right down to the district levels. I believe that's where the bulk of our people are. And I believe we can do this. This is our country. We're believing in God, believing in ourselves, believing in our country that we can make a change.
Stanley Ove Jr., National EMTV News.
Here with National EMTV News, we'll have more stories making the news when we come back. Don't go away. Welcome back. Turning overseas, a second New Zealand Defence Force flight landed in Vanuatu today, carrying $100,000 worth of relief supplies, including chemical toilets and hygiene kits. More than 10,000 people have been evacuated and are now in temporary accommodation as a threat of volcanic eruption looms. This new shipment brings New Zealand's total and contribution to almost $700,000. In a move that has shocked many, America's National Rifle Association has called on the government to review regulations on rapid-fire gun accessories, also known as bump stock. It comes after House Speaker Paul Ryan said politicians needed to look into the kind of device which was used by the Las Vegas gunman in his attack.
From the nation's most powerful gun lobby, today a call for change in the wake of the nation's deadliest mass shooting. Found on a dozen of the Las Vegas shooter's weapons, those bump stock attachments that allow a rifle to fire like a machine gun. The NRA now says devices designed to allow semi-automatic rifles to function like fully automatic rifles should be subject to additional regulations. And tonight, a growing number of top Republicans say they would consider legislation banning bump stocks altogether.
If this is a modification to a firearm that breaches the spirit of the law against automatic weapons, then I think there'd be bipartisan support to deal with it.
Clearly, that's something we need to look into.
One Florida Republican congressman even vowing to introduce his own bill. With the bump stock, assault rifles can fire hundreds of rounds per minute, changing a gun from this to this. But not all Republicans are on board with tougher laws.
I don't think that the 80 or 90 million Americans who exercise their Second Amendment rights to own a gun should be punished for the act of one evil person.
The White House so far silent on gun control in the wake of the Las Vegas massacre, but late today, President Trump signaled he'll be weighing in on the bump stock debate too.
Australian officials have announced new measures to combat terror involving facial recognition. The proposed measure includes sharing information online to create a national face matching service, giving police access to passport and driving license. But many fear it could lead to a breach of privacy.
The first ever Leaders Summit to talk counter-terrorism, and the decision-makers heavily protected as work continued to counter terrorism.
This is the new world order.
One in which even Labor's left says civil liberties have become a luxury.
Notional considerations of civil liberties do not trump the very real threat. We are going to have to curtail the rights and freedoms of a small number of people.
All of us are having to reconsider our civil rights. This is about people's safety and security.
And on this, even before the meeting, the deal was done. Federal and state leaders, Liberal and Labor, were as one.
We need to ensure that we give our police, intelligence and security agencies the tools they need to keep us safe.
Signing on to a range of tough new measures.
Thank you.
There'll be faster and easier access to drivers' licences, effectively a national database for facial recognition in public places. Uniform powers to hold suspects for 14 days before charges need to be laid. Making a terror hoax will be an offence, as will possessing instructional terrorist material.
We'll keep this constantly under review, and we will always be refining and enhancing and fine-tuning our ability to keep Australians safe.
Regrettably, the threat situation we live in has not changed. It's not a maybe, it's probable.
But they're under pressure to explain how facial recognition will work, how, why and when it'll be used, and at pains to deny accessing driver's licence and who can will be any different than it is now.
The only thing that is changing is that it can be accessed in a modern 21st century way.
The human eye is giving researchers new insights into Alzheimer's disease. Scientists have discovered common markers between glaucoma and Alzheimer's that could lead to better diagnosis and treatment.
It's often said our eyes are the windows to our soul, but researchers are using them to understand our brains and to help unravel the mysteries of Alzheimer's disease.
It's quite challenging making the diagnosis in many people. There are different sorts of dementia, many 100 different sorts. And although Alzheimer's is the most common, the treatments differ.
The link between Alzheimer's and glaucoma, which causes blindness, isn't new, but for the first time, researchers here and overseas have provided the strongest proof. 122 proteins, or known markers of Alzheimer's disease, were discovered on the jelly-like surface of the retina in glaucoma patients.
We'll be in a better position to develop future drug targets, and we'll also be in a position to develop future diagnostic tests in a targeted manner.
Well, it's very exciting new research.
Macquarie University researchers used tissue samples from deceased donors, 10 from glaucoma patients and 10 healthy controls. Their project also involved researchers from Harvard Medical School and Princeton University.
This discovery will now pave the way for more studies to test these markers in the blood of patients affected by either disease.
An earlier diagnosis of glaucoma can significantly improve outcomes for patients. Currently, half of Australians with the disease don't know they have it.
And back home, the clock is ticking down to Lay's biggest annual event, the 56th Morabe Agricultural Show. Today, the showground was bustling with people from different organizations as they hurried to set up their stalls for the weekend's display. Amongst them was a subsistence farmer who seized the opportunity to earn an extra income for her family. Priscilla Thomas is a farmer from the Western Highlands province. She has been bringing her produce to the annual show to sell for the past years. Today, she set up her stall for the weekend.
We carry all 5 bla, 2 bla cocoa bag, 1 bla cocoa bag, 3 bla pineapple bag.
Every year, the show attracts participation from business houses and farmers, amongst many others. Apart from the busy business stalls that are being set up, schools are also given the opportunity to showcase their crafts.
The main purpose for us to come to the show is to display what the students have done in schools. So through this, we motivate the students to explore more.
The show gates will be packed with people in the morning. Some people were lucky enough to buy their tickets today, standing in line as early as 10 a.m. Every year, thousands of people come to attend this event. This street is expected to be swarming with people tomorrow as they come to watch the annual Morabe Agricultural Show. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Lay. And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3125 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3050 $0.3874 Australian dollars, €0.2566 and 34.05 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, coffee, cocoa and copper closed higher while gold closed the day lower. Palm oil and copper closed higher while crude oil closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 113.75 points higher, the ASX closed at 58.91 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 57.12 points higher. You're tuned into National EMTV News. We'll have more stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Bodies of the 2 slain policemen killed in Southern Highlands has arrived in Port Moresby. Hundreds welcomed the 2 caskets with tears. 3 survivors of the incident also accompanied the casket. Chief Secretary to Government Isaac Lupari wants government departments to refocus plans so available resources can achieve better outcomes. Secretary Lupari says the country's economic landscape must be changed. Mr. Lupari urged heads of government departments to align their plans and exercise smart management.
Head of government departments and state agencies gathered this morning for a brief with the Chief Secretary to Government. Chief Secretary's opening remarks were direct. Government departments need to overhaul their operations and public servants should perform to a certain required level of expectation.
Papua New Guinea should no longer become an importer. We must change the economic landscape.
The public service mechanism plays a big role in services delivery. Mr. Lupari says the conduct of government business will be rearranged to adopt the Alatawa Code 2. The Chief Secretary says aligning departments' plans will be a key priority for the next 5 years.
You must communicate. You must make that alignment. There's no point building a road in the wilderness if there's not going to be any health center or school.
The first presentation this morning was by Treasury Secretary Darivele. Between 2016 and 2017, there was inconsistency in achieving GDP standards and expenditure blowouts. But Secretary Vele says the 100-day plan aims to regenerate revenue through the existing programs. Mr. Vele says the supplementary budget is the first real step for the 100-day plan.
It's the development budget and not the other way around. So I think as we move forward, the idea of Alata 2 is to try and make sure that we address that balance.
With 2018 around the corner, all government departments have been tasked to review their budget plans with the Budget Advisory Committee to screen all budgets submitted by departments and state agencies.
Get towards the back end of this year, and there is funds available. use it for its intended purpose rather than doing unnecessary things with it. And let's not write checks unless the money is there.
Meanwhile, Secretary Vele says the 2018 budget will focus on boosting the country's revenue collection processes and efficiency. Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
The officers of PNG Customs in Ley destroyed more than 2,000 cartons of cigarettes and more than 200 kilograms of substances used in making hard drugs. 2 40-foot containers of cigarette cartons were labeled as kitchenware and accessories when confiscated. PNG Customs Police and the PNG Defence Force in Ley put the goods on fire today.
2 40-foot containers containing 2,040 cartons of cigarettes were imported into PNG from Malaysia. They are worth 21 million kina if they were sold on the streets. In 2014, police also confiscated over 200 kilograms of ice used for making hard drugs.
That market in PNG is slowly increasing now, and some of these importers use PNG as a transit point for it to go into Australia.
The importer of the cigarettes lodged an entry with PNG Customs and paid a duty-free tax of 28,000 kina to declare the containers as kitchenware and accessories. Customs Assistant Commissioner Benjamin Sine said the importer was notified by sources in the organization that then decided to divert the shipment. When the importer realized the processes involved in examining containers by PNG Customs, they diverted the shipment back to its country of origin.
If we are to calculate and collect the duty that is to be payable to the state, if our officers in Ley calculated the estimated duty to be about, say, 10.6 million, and that's how much they're trying to evade by paying 28,000 in the entry that was lodged.
The 2 containers were locked away by the police and the PNG Defence Force. The Chief Commissioner for PNG Customs authorized the goods to be destroyed today after 30 days of unclaimed goods by the owner. Sine said Ley's Customs should have a container X-ray machine available to quickly identify smuggled goods. Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Ley.
The Ley Biscuit Company today unveiled a 110 million kina addition to its Ley production facilities. The new factory is expected to significantly boost its biscuit production. All this from a company that began with 5 bags of flour in 1972.
About 500 people gathered at the Ley Biscuit premises to witness the opening of the new factory. This is the latest addition to Ley Biscuit's growing portfolio of production facilities and associated businesses. A high-level delegation turned up for the occasion. Cardinal Sir John Ribat, the Civil Aviation Minister, the Police Minister, and the Governor-General Sir Bob Dadai. A notable absence was the Prime Minister. The Civil Aviation Minister, Alfred Manasseh, stood in for him. The company chairman, Ian Chow, was happy with the development. In January, the family patriarch, Sir Henry Chow, passed away halfway through the construction of the 110 million kina project. Over the years, he had insisted on retaining as many workers as possible. It remains a legacy he left behind.
Ley Biscuit Company was operating at Vocal Point before independence. We will continue to build and grow our business into the future. This new factory is the 5th factory we have built since we started producing biscuits.
The guests were taken on a guided tour through the facility where the iconic Ley biscuits were being made. This new facility now makes thousands of biscuits an hour. It is a far cry from when the company started in 1972 with only 5 bags of flour. The Morobe governor was quite pleased with the development. For a province with a large population, this is a welcome addition to resolving the unemployment problem.
Ley is an industrial city, and these kind of factories make the name become a reality.
Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Ley.
You're with Friday's news, some sporting actions, and that's in Trukai Sports when we come back.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The All Search Trophy Tour continued their journey to Kwikila Station in the Central Province. Many men, women and children came in numbers to welcome the trophy.
From Golupu village, the trophy was taken to Kwikila Station, where it was welcomed by school children and the people of Kwikila. The trophy was carried into the Kwikila Rugby League field, escorted by former PNG Kumul players. Kwikila CEO Koru Abe thanked Oil Search and welcomed the cup to the station.
On behalf of the Rigo people, Oil Search, I would like to thank you very much for bringing in the cup to Rigo district. We are privileged to have the cup to our area, and we have produced a lot of greats in rugby league.
Oil Search Executive General Manager Stakeholder Engagement Gary Aupi says they are pleased to bring the cup to Kwikila.
You know, I'm really pleased to be here today as well. 50 years ago, I used to go to school up at Kwikila. That's almost 50 years ago. So it's good to see some of my friends around here and to bring the trophy to Kwikila. Not many of us are going to be watching the game at the NFS. The 3 games that are going to be played at the end of this month. The first game is going to be against Wales, and second one against, I think, Ireland, and then USA. And those 3 games are going to be broadcast all over the world. So it's going to put PNG on the map. So not all of us are going to be there. So as part of our social responsibility, we thought it would be good to bring the trophy around. So we've been to the Highlands, to New Guinea Islands, and now we are doing the Papuan coast. And you know, we are pleased to be here, and we hope that you will have the opportunity to get a photo with the cup. So when this cup is lifted and presented to the winner, you can always say, yes, we've seen it, we've touched it, and that's a proof here of a photo we've taken with the trophy. We're going to kick off now.
Let's give a big... Gary Aupi officially kicked off the Kwikila Rugby League semi-final match between the SK Broncos and Kwikila Dragons. From the Rugby League ground, the trophy made a quick stop at Kwikila Secondary School. The trophy was then taken to Saroa, where people from the area had the opportunity to take pictures and touch the cup. From Saroa, the cup visited Tubuseria, the home of current Kumul's captain David Mead. People were able to also take pictures, touch and hold the cup. The trophy tour continues.
To cricket, after faring not so well in the round 6 of the Intercontinental Cup earlier this week, the Hebel PNG Barramundis met Scotland again today for the round 6 of the World Cricket League Championship. In hopes of redeeming themselves, the PNG side set out to chase a target of 278 set by Scots earlier today.
Their targets or not, what was the thought?
Currently sitting second to Netherlands on the ICC WCLC ladder, the ODI played today and the next one on Sunday are crucial with the 2-year competition nearing its end.
It's placed beautifully.
Unfortunately, today's match ended with the Boroughs at the wrong end of the 128 runs win.
And another wicket, a big wicket, Asad Vala, inside edge, caught behind by the wicketkeeper.
Winning the toss and opting to bat first, Scotland proved well equipped with their batsmanship. By the time they were all out in the allotted 50, they have already secured 278 runs. The second innings saw PNG chasing a target of 278, but Scotland's efficient fielding gave PNG no space to score high. Boroughs were on 14 runs when they lost their first wicket.
For a big shot as we speak, straight to
Long mid-on.
The slow chase that followed saw them falling short, having only scored 150 when they were dismissed at the 40th over. Sunday's ODI match will be their final chance to fight to maintain the second place on the ladder. Dinero Raiko, National, EMTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports, where the details is next.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
And now looking at the weather forecast for tonight, in the southern region, Alatau cloudy with few light rain showers and cloudy periods for Popondetta. In Omase, cloudy with chance of light rain in Medang and cloudy with rain showers for Wewak and Vanimo. And in the Guinea Islands, Kavian, Kokopo and Rabaul, partly cloudy with chance of afternoon light showers. And in the Highlands, all centers morning for clearing, then rain showers.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
And before we go, Papua New Guinea has launched its National Red Plus Strategy 2017 to 2027. The strategy is part of the national government's Green Growth Development Agenda to address climate change. It will strengthen the country's sustainable forest industries, support agriculture development, and improve land use of planning and management.
This is the first ever National Red Plus strategy to address climate change in Papua New Guinea. The launching was witnessed by UNDP's Director for Asia and Pacific, Hauliang Shu. Mr. Shu congratulated stakeholders led by the Climate Change Development Authority for creating this strategy, which reflects the growth of Papua New Guinea. Not only that, but the enormous support by the national government on the Sustainable Development Goals. And says the strategy has potential to provide real benefits.
Find a pathway that's able to convincing the Green Climate Fund people where we can have sources of funding that will compensate for the loss of this royalty.
It was a dual celebration today, which also saw the launching of the new website administered by the Climate Change Development Authority. Fabian Haklitz, National EMTV News.
And that's a news sports weather for this Friday, the 6th of October 2017. From all of us here, safe weekend and good night.